Good morning and welcome to Yin to Yang Yoga. I'm Joyce Scola and we'll be joined by Zeppelin the cat. Today's flow will be starting out in a gentle yin practice that will lead into a more energizing Hatha flow. So let's go ahead and start by coming to our back on our mat as though we were back in bed. Just taking a moment to be here. When you're ready, you can take your feet about mat distance apart and then slide your right ankle on top of your left or side by side or underneath, whichever feels good for you. Then start to walk that left shoulder blade down to meet your feet. So you're coming into this big banana shape here. Take your right arm up overhead, really stretching through that top right elbow. Breathing however your body needs right now. You can let your chin fall in any direction. Just really try to relax and let everything go here. So try and let go of your muscles, your bones. Maybe even pretending that we're still in bed in a deep, restful, yet aware of our body state. So we're going to take some more deep cleansing breaths here. Down the side body. Maybe some big yawns. Squish your face, stretch and squish. Working the little micro muscles. And then one more round of deep breath. When you're ready, you can start to walk the shoulder blades back to center. Taking your time here, no rush. Inch by inch, and then unwinding the legs, bringing the hips and whole body back into alignment. Releasing and breathing however you need to. You can take your legs wide again once more and just pausing to notice if you feel a difference in either side of your body. One feels more open and oxygenated already. Then you can take your hips wide as the mat, sliding your left leg over on top, side by side or underneath. Untuck that inside hip just in case it gets caught up. Start to slide your right shoulder blade down, lifting through that left shoulder blade. And again, resting your chin wherever feels best for you, letting your body and your breath dictate all of your movements. I usually release with big yawns. And just finding a comfortable position that works for your body. You have to live with it at the end of the day. Once you feel settled in this pose, just relaxing every bone and muscle, coming to your breath. Listening to your body for some subtle clues as to what could be going on. Just taking some more deep breaths, maybe another big yawn. You can do some more face squishes. always adjusting if you need to. Yin yoga is not for the weak of mind. If your body all of a sudden feels like it wants to jolt from a pose or your mind wants to start to run, see if you can kind of work through that and sit in that pose, breathe into it. Notice if it has any information to offer, any messages to deliver, any sensations to experience. When you're ready, you can start to walk the shoulder blades back, unwinding the whole body, allowing yourself to breathe and release. Maybe some face squishes again, big and little. And just relaxing into this, noticing your whole body once more. Feeling into each side. And when you're ready, you can bend your knees, planting your feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart, and start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. You can look in the opposite direction as your knees, moving nice and slow. And then letting them fall in one direction. Again, you can lift the opposite elbow to deepen that side stretch if it feels good for you, resting your chin. Again, focusing on the breath anytime the mind starts to wander, or if you want to escape out of a pose all of a sudden, not from pain, but just as a spontaneous reaction. Taking a few more breaths here. Again, letting every muscle go, even if that means your leg slides. And when you're ready, you can slowly bring the legs back to center, feet wider than the hips, knees resting in, and just noticing, comparing the two sides. And when you're ready, you can fall the knees over to the opposite direction this time. Letting the arms go wherever feels good for you, resting the chin wherever feels best for the neck. And deep breath, let it all go. Releasing everything from your grasp, giving in to the weight of gravity pulling on you into the earth. Grounding you. Always make an adjustment or allow your body to stretch or call for anything that it needs, even if that means changing your pose. Let your breath and body dictate this practice. Taking your time, but whenever you're ready, go ahead and gently roll your body back to center. Letting the knees fall into each other once more. Always taking time between each pose to notice. Because in order to create balance in our bodies, our practice must be unbalanced, at least until we can pull both energies back to center. And then you can bring your knees into your chest, giving a little gentle hug. You can take them wide into each hand, playing with flexing or straightening the legs. Nice and gentle here, not really pushing anything, but just gently playing and feeling into, or more so like checking into the tightness levels, how the fascia is doing, any pain. And just back and forth. You can start to roll the knees around in a circle, away from each other, together, and then opposite directions. Taking deep breaths, maybe big yawns while you do this. Big face as you stretch the knees wide, and then try and make a little face when the knees come together. Gently warming up the subtle body. Give your knees a nice hug. And then you can flex the feet, placing your feet back onto the earth, bending the knees. You want your heels fairly close to your hips if that's comfortable. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale and exhale, press up gently through the hips into bridge. And then back down. Keeping our back on the ground, we're going to work on warming up the spine. As we inhale, we're going to lift the tailbone up towards our head, which will lift our low back off the mat. And then when we exhale, we'll press the tailbone down towards our heels, which will press our low back into the mat. Keeping your core activated, we'll press the hips back up to the ceiling. Hold for a moment, and then gently lowering down. Inhale to lift the tailbone so that the low back lifts. Exhale to press the low back into the earth. And then again, reaching up through the hips. Holding for a moment. You may breathe here. Exhale, lower down. And then letting your knees fall to one direction, resting here for just a few breaths. And then inhaling up to center, exhaling over to the other side. And letting go for a few breaths. And then inhale back up, pausing to notice once more. We'll slowly walk the arms in close to the hips, facing the palms up. Inhale, lift them up overhead, touching them to the floor. Exhale, you can let the hands slide down the side of the body back to the floor. Inhale, lifting the arms up overhead, touching the ground. Exhale, letting the arms fall down to the sides. Reaching up, you can now take your arms wide this time, then coming back into center as you sweep down. Inhale, wide open along the ground. Up, reaching the palms back down, palm to palm at your heart. Take a few breaths here, just honoring this practice, honoring yourself. And we'll go ahead and bring our knees into our chest, grab the backs of the thighs, and then you can slowly start to play with pulling your knees forward, taking your shoulders off the mat. Inhale, laying back down, bringing the knees into the chest, and then moving like this back and forth with your breath. Knees pulling on the arms, which lifts the upper torso. Inhaling to lay back, bringing the knees into the chest. And then slowly starting to speed this whole thing up. So now we are coming into a spinal rock. Eventually you want to make your way to seated. And just pause for a moment. Notice how it feels to be vertical. As though we're just waking up from our slumber. We'll go ahead and come forward onto our hands and knees, bringing the knees underneath the hips, tuck the toes underneath the knees, palms underneath the shoulders, and then inhale, extend your right leg long, keeping the toes tucked. We're just going to stretch into that back leg. You can rock back and forth. You can even point the top of your foot and then really press through the top of the shin, or just make some ankle rolls. Whatever feels good for your body and the fascia. If you want, you can come to your forearms and really stretching through that back heel. Exhale, coming forward, bringing that knee back underneath your hip. And then coming back to all fours. When you're ready, you can extend that left leg back now, toes stay tucked. Then again, rocking back and forth, stretching the shin and the calf, the quad and the hamstring. You can do ankle rolls. You can windshield wiper side to side. And then eventually settling back into stretching that hamstring and calf. You can even make sure you're stretching that front right hip a little bit too. Keeping everything square. Again, following your body, what feels good for you. When you're ready, coming back, you can rest into a child's pose, either with your toes tucked or untucked, knees wide or knees together. You can even come to like a half child's pose, half puppy pose, so you're a little bit more lifted, chest is melting towards the ground, and there's a little bit more of a gentle back bend. Again, taking time to breathe and release. And then you can exhale, coming forward. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Coming forward onto the wrists, making sure that the fingers are spread wide, and then sitting back onto your tucked toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands come down. Placing the hands down in front of you, leaning over the wrists. Untuck your toes, sit back. Making sure the heels are together. You can play with lifting your knees. Exhale, forward, tuck the toes. We're also stretching the wrists between this. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, reaching the hands back to the earth, stretching wrists. Inhale, untucking toes, sitting back, again stretching the knees up. Exhale, walking the hands forward, tucking toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center, reaching them down in front of your knees. Untucking the toes. Inhale, rocking back, however feels good for your shins and your ankles. And then just coming to a nice neutral spine. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, palms together. Placing the hands in front of you, walking the knees back under the hips, coming into a cat-cow. Whatever feels good for you, any variation of this. Start to breathe deep. And then we'll walk our hands forward just a little bit more, coming into a nice wide-legged down dog. You can have a deep bend in your knees here. Allow your hips sway side to side. Let your neck go. You can even play with taking your hands away from the earth. Your weight is really into your heels here. Knees are bent so that way you can press into your feet, lifting up through the hips. Being really active with the stretch. You can even scratch your hair and kind of pull on your scalp, releasing the arms back down. Go ahead and bring your knees to the earth once more, nice and wide. Toes come in together, exhaling, child's pose. On your next inhale, you can walk your hands over to the left, stretching through that right side body, and then over to the right, stretching through the left side body, and then coming back to center. Exhale, pressing up into your tabletop, and then lowering that belly down. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, press the hips back into your tabletop once more. Inhale, go ahead and stretch your left leg back behind you. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl, knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, go ahead and step that left foot to the outside of your hand, coming into a low lunge here. You can play with moving back and forth into a half split and low lunge. Again, breaking up that fascia. Doing what your body is calling for. And then go ahead and settle into that lunge. Both hips are squaring forward. If you need blocks to place your hands on, feel free. Making sure your spine can stay long and tall here. Always focusing on the breath, how this pose feels in your body versus the alignment of it. And then exhale, go ahead and press back into your half split. You can point and flex, moving however feels best for you and your body, coming back to that lunge. Lifting up through the back of the scalp, Exhale, curling down to face your knee, pressing back. And then go ahead and plant your right hand down, swing your left arm up, making some big circles, moving backwards. And then maybe even just sweeping across the chest, and hold here. You can play with your gaze either down or up. Breathing, extending that back arm, and then exhale, straightening that front leg, sitting all the way back to your back heel. Tuck the back toes under if that's comfortable for you, flexing your front foot, pointing. Taking some time to stretch the hamstrings and the calves, and then exhale, start to shift forward into that left leg, taking the legs wide, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend in the knees, forward fold here. So again, we're keeping a bend in the knees to lift up through the hips, pressing through the heels. Can let the shoulders go. Whatever feels good for you, letting the palms come to the earth, really stretching through the spine, bending and then lifting through the hips. You can twist here, taking one hand to the opposite foot, trying to pull the chest open and through the arms. Exhale, release, and then over to the other side. Keeping the hips wide and even here. And then releasing back to center. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, really pressing, active here. Exhale to lower. Inhale, halfway lift. And then go ahead and walk your feet up to the front of your mat once more, sweeping that front leg back. Just some gentle cat-cows to reset the spine. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale, lift the right leg up this time. Exhale, curling in knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl. Inhale, open. Exhale, go ahead and step that foot to the outside of your right hand, coming into a lunge once more. And then again, using your breath to rock back and forth if you need some props. It's helpful to have a nice long spine here, lifting through the whole spine but not crunching anything. Inhaling to move into your lunge. Exhale to press into your half split. As you inhale, maybe play with looking up at your eyebrows. As you exhale, maybe try to see the tops of your cheeks to kind of get some eye movement, muscle working. Always moving with your breath, doing what the body calls for. The only wrong way to do a yoga pose is if you hold something that hurts. And now, when you're ready, you can slowly bring your hips down to your back heel, keeping the toes tucked under if that's okay. or even the top of your foot if that's better. It might be different than the other side, just noticing. You can play with pointing and flexing that front leg. Maybe breathe and feel different positions for your spine. You can even take a twist, any sort of support or movement you need. Moving intentionally and gently. And then moving back into your lunge. Just breathing here for a moment. Exhale, go ahead and lower down into a child's pose. You can move the hips side to side to help massage the lower body. If you have blocks, they can your hands can rest on them. Help stretch the shoulders. Just breathing to release. When you're ready, you can inhale to slowly lift up. Coming back to a kneeling position. We're going to come up onto our knees this time. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, sweep the arms down, sitting on tucked toes. Inhale, lift the arms up, coming high up onto the knees. Exhale, arms come down as we sit onto our tucked toes. Continuing to move like this. Inhale up, exhale, lower halfway down and hold. All the way to the feet now. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, can you fold halfway, hinging at the hips, no pressure in the spine. Sitting all the way back down. Reaching the hands out in front of you this time. Can you step your feet forward? Exhale, forward fold. Again, you can just let everything go here. Bending the knees, swaying the hips. Maybe doing some rolls, lifting up through the hips and then bending the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rolling to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, soften it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we'll go ahead and bend the knees, soften, and then really sink into the heels, bend the knees, sweep the arms all the way up to standing, using both legs evenly to get there. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, lower the arms down. Inhale, reach the right arm up overhead, stretching through that right side body. Exhaling back to center. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, over to the right, stretching through that left side. Breathing back to center. Palms coming together at your heart. We'll inhale, lift the left foot into tree pose, wherever's comfortable for you, just not on the knee. If you're good here, inhale, lift the right arm up, reaching over to the left. Expanding your branches, coming back to center. Bringing that knee forward. You can offer a little closed twist here if this balance is working for you, and then inhale back to center. Take our weight into the opposite foot now. Tree pose on the other side, as long as your foot is above or below the knee. If you're stable here, you can then reach up with your left arm, really pressing into that left hip to twist to the side, and then bring that knee forward, taking the outside of the knee with your left hand, twisting to look back over that right hand. Breathing. Exhale, come to center with control, stepping back down. Coming settled, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Letting go here. Releasing the neck and the spine. And then when you're ready, sinking into the heels, inhale to slowly sit back up. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, palms come together at the heart. Thank you so much for joining me today and showing up for yourself. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.